Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football. Today is day 2 of our NFL draft series where we're taking a look at a mock draft for each NFL team. Day number 2, that means we're moving to the Detroit Lions with that number 2 overall pick. Before we get into the mock, I appreciate all the support you guys have been giving to the channel. If you guys like the content, like, subscribe, comment down below. We love chopping it up about some ball in the comment section. Number pick 2, I really think the Detroit Lions, especially if Aidan Hutchinson is off the board with that number 1 overall pick, are in the market for trading down. This is a team that pretty much needs to address every single position group, especially besides the offensive line. Outside the offensive line, maybe you could say running back. They need to do a lot of addressing at these positions. And so I'm kind of a fan of acquiring picks, even picks for next year too, because I think that's where the Detroit Lions are slowly building up their roster. So we're actually going to go ahead and accept this trade for the Houston Texans. Trade down a spot, get 2 more first-round picks at pick number 3 and pick number 13. The Houston Texans trade up for Kayvon Thibodeaux. We're going to reject that. I don't hate that pick, but I feel like the Jets are trying to jump us for Kyle Hamilton. I don't want to let that happen. The Detroit Lions are going to draft Kyle Hamilton with that number 3 overall pick. Obviously, a position need. The secondary has not been great. If you're Detroit Lions, I think you want to address that edge position. They were I believe they ranked last in terms of sacks per game in the NFL. So obviously the key to having a good defense is getting pressure on the quarterback. The Detroit Lions desperately need to address that. So taking a look at pick 13, this is where I think you could take Garrett Wilson. He's my wide receiver 1 on the board. Some of those top edge guys are, in fact, gone. And you're looking to kind of build around. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown has been an awesome find. T.J. Hockenson has been a good tight end. But outside, Amon-Ra St. Brown is no wide receiver 1. I think this is a good spot to take Garrett Wilson. He's a top 15 prospect on our big board. Wide receiver number 1. He's falling to pick 13. We're going to go ahead and get Garrett Wilson, who you guys know I love Garrett Wilson. He's just an electric receiver with the ball in his hands, contested catch, creating separation. Tested very well at the combine with his long speed too, which was a little bit of a question mark. There's a lot of things to like about Garrett Wilson's game. And in my mind, you're kind of building up that team for next year. You might be getting your franchise quarterback and you want to have kind of a loaded up room. So your rookie quarterback, hopefully Bryce Young, can cook a little bit. 32. This is where I've seen a lot of wide receivers being mocked to the Lions. Like you could take Jahan Dotson, I think Christian Watson, George Pickens, John Mechie. They're all good prospects. We were able to get Garrett Wilson with that 13th overall pick. So we don't need to necessarily reach on a wide receiver here. I think you could start taking a look at linebackers. Christian Harris, I really like. I really like Leo Chenal, Quay Walker, Brian Asamoah, Channing Tindall. Like there's a lot of guys in that linebacker room that I really like. With that being said, I kind of like linebacker around 66 as opposed to using that 34th pick on a linebacker. So we're going to go back to the big board, take a look at some of our guys. They did do a good job addressing the interior defensive line. But I'm looking at Devonte Wyatt. Like we're talking about getting pass rush and guys who can get after the quarterback. I think Devonte Wyatt can do that. I think Perrion Winfrey can do that. The problem with Perrion Winfrey is he just really can't really support the run game. David Ojabo still on the board. Boy Mafe, guys that I like on the edge. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get Trent McDuffie, though. Trent McDuffie's a top 20 guy. He's a lockdown cornerback. Jeff Okudah hopefully getting back from injury. And then we're going to take Devonte Wyatt. Those are 2 guys that I think is immediately going to help your defense. We got 3 solid day 1 starters in Devonte Wyatt, Trent McDuffie, and Kyle Hamilton joining that Detroit Lions defense that needs help on all 3 levels, the defensive line, linebacker core, and the secondary. We've kind of addressed all those positions, and we're looking to kind of address that linebacking position with the 65th pick here. Devonte Wyatt's an interesting prospect. I think he has a very good shot to be a first-round pick. He wasn't really given the chance to cook a little bit in that Georgia defense. I think he can do a little bit more at the next level. Arnold Ebeketie, though, we might need to pass. Did we get another pick? Yeah, we got pick 82. Channing Tindall, Brian Asamoah still on the board. Arnold Ebeketie is really hard to pass up here. We've been getting him in a lot of Arnold Ebeketie has had Ebeketie, I think is how you say it. He's had some of the most impressive film I've seen when I'm looking through these edge defenders. He uses his hands better than anybody else. He's very good in the run game, 18 and a half tackles for a loss. He also tacked on 9.5 sacks. Very, very talented edge rusher who also has underrated physical traits. Like he tested extremely well at the combine and Penn State's pro day, which was kind of the thing going in is, how capped is he physically? Like he's not that capped. Like he's a very good football player. He uses his hands extremely well. Jalen Petrie, still on the board. I mean, that's just disrespectful, to be honest. I want to check that linebacking core out. You still got Channing Tindall, Brian Asamoah, two guys that I really like. Brian Asamoah is a little bit undersized, but he's got those 33-inch arms. He's very good in the passing game. I'm going to take Brian Asamoah just because of how that Detroit Lions defense is set up. They got some big guys up front. Brian Asamoah's biggest knock on his game is not really being able to take on blockers that well who get up to the next level. The Detroit Lions have worked on that interior offensive line. We continue to do that with Devonte Wyatt. He should be pretty free. And when Brian Asamoah doesn't have to take on blocks at the next level, he is flying around the football field, making tackles, getting his hands on footballs. I really like Brian Asamoah here. Now I'm just really tempted to take Jalen Petrie here as well. We took Kyle Hamilton already, so I think we're gonna go with Brian Asamoah. I really like him and Channing Tindall's game. I think you can go with either one. And I'm not you guys, whoever you guys feel like you want to take, put it down in the comment section because I'm good with both of them, quite frankly. And that's what I was kind of meaning with that sweet spot. Like in that third round, there's a lot of really good guys that you can take from that linebacker room. Even now, Channing Tindall, I really like. I really like Troy Anderson's game. I really like Kobe McLean's game. There are a lot of linebackers who I really like in this draft class. Now that I knew Channing Tindall was going to fall, maybe you go Jalen Petrie, and then let's check these wide receiver rooms out real quick. Justin Ross, if you want to take a ceiling guy, it's just his film this year was just so bad. Wayndell Robinson, I have a very high grade on. Problem with Wayndell Robinson is I think he kind of plays a similar game to Amon-Ra St. Brown in terms of being a smaller guy who can create separation in the middle of the field on those intermediate routes. So I'm not necessarily loving jumping up and taking him there. Rasheed Walker, I think. I mean, you guys got your tackles situated really well, but I think Rasheed Walker is going to be a very good guard at the next level. We might just double up and go get Channing Tindall at 100. I think we're going to do that. I mean, that is a position of massive need. The linebacking room has just been an absolute joke, quite frankly. Channing Tindall, if anything, is going to be a very good special teamer too. But I just love the prospect. I think he's very well worth a day 2 selection. We're going to go get Channing Tindall, who absolutely flies around the football field. I'm really targeting Wayndell Robinson. If he falls, it looks like he's not going to fall, though. Let's take a look at some more of the wide receiver room. I was really happy we got Garrett Wilson. I think that's going to be a really good pick. Take a look at the big wording. And Jelani Woods, if you guys are unable, he just went, though. If you guys are unable to go get TJ Hawkinson back, I think he's a really good look, too. The Detroit Lions do not have many picks in that later day 3 slot. And to kind of go back to what we were talking about earlier, I think you really make your money in this draft class with the depth of it as opposed to like the top end talent. And so if you can acquire a lot of picks late day 1 or in that day 2 range, I think that's where you're really going to make some money in this draft class. And so the Detroit Lions, if Hutchinson goes with that first overall pick, I think the Detroit Lions should be shopping that pick around. I just don't know how much they'll get for it due to the fact that there's no quarterback or absolute stud that people are going to go after. Jamaree Salyer has to be the pick here. He's going to be just a rock solid guard on the interior. It was a chalky pick being the highest guy on their big board, but Jamaree Salyer, I love his film. He was a good left tackle for the Georgia Bulldogs who won the national championship. He's going to be an absolutely phenomenal interior offensive lineman. He's going to be one of those guys that he might not be like an all-pro, but he's going to be like a solid guy that's going to play for you guys for 8 years. He's going to be really solid for a while. Want to see if we can address that edge position one more time. I really like Josh Pascal. He's more of a 3-tech, which I think they could benefit from. They got some real beefy guys like Aleem McNeil. We just got Devonte Wyatt on the interior. Josh Pascal is more of a guy where he's 280 pounds, but his get off is like an edge guy. He's got strength in his game like an interior guy. But I don't really see him as a tweener because I think he can play edge, but I also think he can play on that inside, more of a 3-tech as well. And then Tyreek Smith from Ohio State put together some really good film. And obviously you got the flyer, Amari Barno as well. We're going to go Josh Pascal because he's a ROC Boy favorite. If you guys are a fan of the show, you guys know how much I love Josh Pascal. And I had a brief obsession with Kentucky football for a while. I still do support Kentucky. Like I like their game. I like what Mark Stoops is doing, but I went through a phase where I was a big Kentucky fan. Josh Pascal was one of the reasons why I love how he plays the game. Plays the game the right way. He's overall just a really solid football player. I don't expect him to be there in round 6, by the way. I think he's more of a day 2 guy. Maybe early day 3, but he won't be there around 6. We can agree on that. All right, 217. Let's go back to the big board here. Josh Job's a guy that I really like. Jack Sanborn's a guy. We're gonna go get Josh Jobe. Again, I hate to be so chalky. Let's check the whole cornerback room before we jump to conclusions. Kalen Barnes, the flyer. We got 2 tails of 2 cities. This guy ran a 4.26. Jermaine Waller ran a 4.7. I'm not like super picky about 40 times, but if you're a cornerback over a 4.7 40, you're just simply going to have trouble following wide receivers down the field. Just Sir Taylor, another ROC Boy favorite, but he's not that good. I think Josh Jobe could be the pick. Another guy, I mean, we got a cornerback, but Marcus Jones is another guy to take a look at. I like his game a lot. Check these edge guys out really quick. Nothing that's jumping out at me too much. Big Cat Bryant, GOAT name. Such a good name. Check the D tackle room real quick. Not really much. We're going to go up and get Josh Jobe again. Late in the round, like you can't go around taking Alabama prospects. Like they historically work out really well at the next level. Nick Saban's got an absolute wagon going down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. He's getting those guys ready to go be very good professional football players. All right, 234. I believe this is the last pick of the draft. Maybe checks the wide receiver market real quick. I like Velus Jones. I like Jalen Naylor. There's some guys that you could maybe take a flyer on. Ty Freifogel was supposed to be Ty Freifogel might be the pick just because he was supposed to be a really good prospect, but at Indiana football team was absolutely gross this year. I'm not really sure totally what happened, but like they didn't make it work. Devin Tompkins led the country, I believe, in receiving yards. He's not a bad guy to take a look at. Britton Covey, just a very good returner as well. Check that running back room. Running back room's barren. Honestly, Connor Hayward might be the pick. I know we're going to pick him. We're going to pick him because Dan Campbell, he was asked at the Senior Bowl, like, what do you think about Connor Hayward? And his eyes lit up. And he didn't want to give too much to like who he likes at the Senior Bowl, so he like ended the interview. But like you could tell he had his eye on Connor Hayward, who is, in my opinion, he used to play running back, and then he put on a ton of weight. Cam Hayward's little brother, I believe. He's related. I don't know if they're brothers. But you could tell that Dan Campbell really liked his game. He's a fullback that can do a lot of things. He's more of like a Kyle Juszczyk fullback, whereas like you can have him run routes, get him in space. You can give him carries. He was a former running back. All right, let's take a look at the draft. We obviously traded down, acquired 3 picks in the top 80. Again, I like the idea of trading down just because that's where the fruit of this draft is. Like in this middle round, Arnold Ebeketie, Devonte Wyatt, Brian Asamoah, Channing Tindall. Those are all really good prospects. Obviously, you get Kyle Hamilton at a position in need and just an absolute unicorn. You look what Derwin James is able to do in that LA Chargers defense. I think Kyle Hamilton can do that and more. And we just really haven't seen a safety prospect this talented and have this many physical tools. Garrett Wilson at pick 13, again, building up the offensive firepower. Like, yes, I think you need to focus on the defense because the roster on that defense side of the ball, defensive side of the ball is really not good. And so you could tell we had a lot of emphasis on the defense side of the ball. But getting Garrett Wilson at pick 13 was an absolute steal. If the Detroit Lions don't trade out of that number 2 spot, keep that number 2 pick, Kayvon Thibodeau, Kyle Hamilton could be the pick. And then you look at a guy like Drake London, like Chris Olave, like a Sky Moore, Jahan Dotson in that later rounds right here could be a very good pick. That's a wrap on the Detroit Lions mock draft. I love ripping the Detroit Lions, guys, because you can tell they're building. Like Dan Campbell, I think, is the man for the job. This team's in the right direction. You don't see many teams compete as hard as they did when they were losing that many games. I think Dan Campbell has a good grasp of that locker room. They got a lot of picks as well. Very excited for the Detroit Lions' future. That is a wrap on the Detroit Lions mock draft. Again, thank you guys for all the support you guys show to the channel. Again, like, subscribe, comment. We love talking ball in the comment section. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.